having to take last week off due to a bout of laryngitis. Wonderful ailment to have when you're in a business where talking is very, very important. And in one of those, you're in a small town when moments, when Sherry Hanna, friend of the station, heard my raspy tones on our news and sports reports last Friday, excuse me, she texted me and said that, hey, I'll be over with some chicken soup for you, which I thought was really nice of her. And I'm expecting one of those little plastic cups of soup that you'd get at a place like Subway. Nope. What does Sherry do? She brings me this big gulp-sized cup of chicken soup and cough drops and vitamin C drops and applesauce and 7-Up. I mean, I'm talking about a whole anti-laryngitis kit. You talk about something unexpected, but still very grateful for all of that. So thank you very much, Sherry. And I think there you kind of see the difference between men and women in situations like that. Women, they will go all out and put together a care package for you in a situation like that. Us guys, it's more like, hey, you sound like crud. You want a cough drop? Sure. Here you go. Thanks. Not saying I wouldn't be grateful for that single cough drop, but again, it's nice to know there are people out there, especially in our listening audience, who will go the extra mile or two to help you out, especially when you go on the air and can barely talk. I think I still have some lingering effects of it, but I think for anyone who, heard my news and sports reports the previous Friday, yeah, it is a day and night difference, that's for sure. So just wish I could have knocked out that laryngitis completely before Saturday, or last Saturday, I should say, so I could do the show. And also was senior day over at Embry-Riddle for their basketball team, so unfortunately I had to miss that because it's kind of hard to do play-by-play on their live streams when you can barely talk. But also, it just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. But you know what, folks? Well, as you can tell from my attire here, if you're watching us on our live stream on the KYCA Facebook page, yes, I am still basking in the glow of the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl victory. I was planning to talk about it last week on the show, but of course we didn't have a show last week because I had laryngitis. And yeah, I may be a week late on it, but you know what? A, it's my show. I can talk about whatever I want. B, it's my team. They won the Super Bowl, so you're darn right I'm going to talk about it. And I'll tell you what, we didn't just win. We didn't just beat Kansas City. We absolutely stomped a mud hole in them and walked it dry, as the great JR Jim Ross would say on his WWE broadcast. And I mean, going up on them 34-0 in the third quarter, I don't think Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs knew what hit him, especially after Cooper DeJean got that pick six midway through the first quarter. I mean, in general, the Eagles defense getting 3 sacks on Mahomes and picking him off twice. Dude's probably not used to getting manhandled like that, and I think it showed in the fact that it really wasn't until the fourth quarter when he realized, oh, wait, I'm Patrick Mahomes, and I'm actually a really good quarterback. Yeah, he had a couple of touchdown passes in the final 3 minutes or so, but by then it was too little too late, and I'm just lounging on the couch like, whatever, throw a touchdown here, throw a touchdown here. Dude, we got a minute 45 left. You ain't staging a massive comeback here. Too little, too late. And the Eagles snag their second Super Bowl trophy to go along with the 3 NFL championships that they won in the pre-Super Bowl era back in 1948, 1949, and 1960. And I think one of the biggest examples of what a great team, what a complete team the Eagles are, is the fact that Saquon Barkley was really a non-factor in the Super Bowl. The dude had more than 2,000 rushing yards this season. I think he was one of 9 running backs to have a 2,000 yard rushing season in NFL history. Yet, and of course, Eagle fans throughout the season were chanting MVP, MVP whenever Saquon got the ball. But Super Bowl, Saquon Barkley had just 57 rushing yards and we still won. Now, that's the sign of a great team. When your superstar doesn't have the impact he usually does, yet you still have enough horses in the stable to go out and get the job done. Now, since we are talking about the Super Bowl, most of you are probably expecting my obligatory ripping of the Super Bowl halftime show. Well, not going to happen this year. Mainly because I did not watch a single second of the halftime show. In fact, I was actually shooting the breeze with a friend of mine at the Super Bowl party I was attending when that show was going on. And honestly, I really had no desire to watch the replay of it on YouTube just to make comments about it on this show. I just don't care about rap. I don't care about Kendrick Lamar. I don't care enough about that to do something like that. So, when the NFL grows a brain, realizes that there are more musical genres out there, and books like The Warning for their Super Bowl halftime show, then give me a call. And I would love to see that so much. I mean, those three sisters from Mexico who make up The Morning, they would absolutely tear it up. And if you don't believe me how awesome The Warning is, go to YouTube, after this show, of course. Go to YouTube, check out their videos for Evolve, Choke, Sick, or This Hell You Call a Dream. They kick rock and roll butt. Then, oh, I couldn't let this one go by. Taylor Swift and NFL fans showing what they really think of her. I laughed my butt off watching that image of Taylor Swift looking shocked when the camera at the Superdome was on her and everyone booed the living heck out of her. And she turns to her pal, I think her name was Ice Spice, whoever the heck she is, and you can hear her saying, what's going on? And probably thinking, well, they can't be booing me. I'm Taylor Swift. Everyone loves me. No, Taylor, everyone doesn't love you. You need to get out of your bubble where you have 100-person posse telling you how great you are 24/7. Now, and I mean, look, Taylor, like a lot of people think your music sucks because it does suck. And most real NFL fans got sick and tired of seeing you all over games last year and the nonstop talk about you being at Chiefs games and dating Travis Kelce and all that other stuff when all we want to do is just sit back and watch the darn game. And we really don't care if you're at the game and who you're dating. Now, some people may interpret this as me hating Taylor Swift personally. Actually, I don't dislike Taylor Swift as a person. For all I know, she might actually be a pretty cool person for all I know. I don't know. What I really have a problem with, I just don't like what she represents. And that is basically someone who puts out uninspired assembly line pop music with zero passion and zero fire, and which the mainstream champions as the greatest music in the world, and accuses people like me who don't like it as heretics and demand that I like it because Taylor Swift is a successful, empowered woman, and how dare you not appreciate her existence. So someone like that is celebrated, while other singers with far more talent who put out far better music are ignored by the mainstream. And I'm also just going to come out and say it. On a superficial level, I just think Taylor Swift is okay looking at best. I think singers like Simone Simons of Epica, Carla Harvey of Butcher Babies, Melissa Bonney of Ad Infinitum, and Christina Scabi of Lacuna Coil, who's like in her 50s, are way hotter than Taylor Swift and way more talented. So maybe Taylor Swift got a nice little reality check at the Super Bowl, just like the Chiefs did, as they found out they are not the best team in the NFL. That title goes to my Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Well, I probably chased away a bunch of listeners because I can't sing for crud. I will say this, Taylor Swift is definitely a better singer than I am. I do have to mention that. Okay, folks, 928-541-1016 number to call here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. We're going to break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University men's basketball as they get ready for their first ever GSAC tournament play. In the studio with me, I have Coach Ben Tucker. I have two of his players, J.C. Canlin and David Tebow. We'll be talking to them on the other side of the break. We'll be back right after this. We are back here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you. About 98% laryngitis free now. And with me in the studio today, I have Coach Ben Tucker and two of his players, David Tebow and J.C. Candlin from the Embry-Riddle men's basketball team. Guys, thank you very much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
And first off, Coach, I'm going to start with you because certainly a year of great accomplishments for Embry-Riddle men's basketball. Your first year in the GSAC. You come down to the final day of the regular season and clinch the fourth and final spot in the GSAC tournament by a 2-point win over Life Pacific. Looking back to the start of the season, seeing where you're at now, getting ready for the playoffs, just your thoughts on how far this team has come since November.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's definitely been a season of growth for sure. Started out 0-3. And we played, I don't think people know, I don't even know if our guys know, we played the number 10 strength of schedule in the non-conference in the whole NAIA. So we were one of the youngest teams, if not the youngest team in the country, and tested ourselves really early and hit some roadblocks. But it's a credit to our young men, and just they stayed with it. We talk about process all the time, like most coaches, and that's the buzz, right? Honor the process. So we talk about that every day, and it was key for our guys to do that this year because I knew it was going to be tough coming out of the gates. I think we were counting the other day. We played 8 or 9 games against top 25 teams this year. So we've been tested, and our guys stayed with it. And first cycle through conference, we were a game out of the playoffs with 7 to go, and won 5 out of our last 6 to get in, and playing some of the best basketball, in the country right now, definitely in the conference. So it's a credit to these guys and just how they stayed with it and got better and better and better, each game and throughout the year, and just stayed the course. So very excited for them. It's the second postseason in school history. Had our first win against a top 25 team 2 games ago. So it's been a fun and exciting week, a lot going on, and just really excited for the guys to get over the hump and get into the postseason.
Yeah, and tell you folks just what a big accomplishment it is for Embry-Riddle to make the GSAC tournament in their first year in this conference. This is probably one of the tougher conferences in the entire NAIA. In first place was the Masters. They are number 8 in the nation in the NAIA national poll. Second place, right here in our state, Arizona Christian. They're the number 5 team in the NAIA. Oh, and that top 25 team that Coach Tucker said they beat, that would be Hope International in third place, number 22 ranked in the NAIA. So, David, for your guys' first year in the GSAC conference, just tell us how much it means to play in a conference like that and be able to clinch a spot in the tournament.
It means a lot, really. You view people who go to Embry-Riddle like nerds, so it means a lot to come out here and show that we can hoop as well. We're not just book smart, but we can do it on the court as well. It was really nice to see the first time one and done. I haven't made it any tournament since I've been here, so for the last go around to make it is it's pretty nice.
And JC, well, this is your first year at Embry-Riddle, first year of college basketball, and talk about getting thrown into the fire again. Got to play in a really great conference like the GSAC, and you guys managed to clinch a spot in the tournament. So talk about what that process was like going through conference season and just battle after battle to get to where you're at today.
Yeah, I mean, going into conference, we didn't really know what it was going to be like just because it was our first year. But I think the first go-around was kind of a test, and then the second go-around was kind of we can kind of hang with everyone and beat anyone we can. So I think we proved that beating number 22 Hope International, and that's what kind of motivated us to keep striving and get that 4th spot. So it was great. It's been great.
Yeah, and Coach, kind of almost a unique style there for Embry-Riddle's roster this year because you've got quite a few returning veterans. David sitting across from us, and of course Jake Klingler, who's been a 3-point machine most of his time at Embry-Riddle. Damari Hackett, just a solid player for you guys, and along with them, you got this incredible crop of freshmen. JC is one of them. Noah Gift, Peter Dress, probably 2 names that our listeners hear quite a bit on our sports recaps. So what is that team dynamic like where you've got great seniors / graduate student players and then all these freshmen who've probably are making the kind of contributions you'd expect out of juniors or seniors.
Yeah, it was a great makeup, and it definitely starts with David and Jake and Damari. The guys like to call them the unks, the uncles of the group, because there is such a big age gap. And, we've got 3 sophomores and 1 junior, but the majority of our guys are on either end of the spectrum. So, it was fun. It made that, like I said, that preseason or non-conference slate, a challenge just because we had so many guys who hadn't been through it at this level and are trying to learn how to play. But that older group, our seniors 100% led us. Just from an emotional standpoint, teaching the younger guys how we do things in practice, how we do things off the floor, how it works at Embry-Riddle, how to manage all your time, all those things. Such great mentors and just great people, and it's a credit to kind of the program and how it's always been, the quality of young man long before I got here, and what we're trying to sustain, through our regime. But those guys definitely led the way. It's nice with the young guys sometimes because they've never been through it. There's no scar tissue, and they kind of don't know what to expect. And I think you saw that down the stretch in the last few games. JC being one of them, just how he played in the last few. But it's just they don't know any better. So it's, hey, this is what we do. We make the playoffs, So you kind of saw that, and it was an interesting dynamic. I think I was looking at the other day in the conference stats, and it's not all about scoring, but our top 5 scorers in conference games were freshmen. Which I would guess there's not another team in the country, probably at any level, to be honest, that has that, which was definitely scary at times as a coach. You usually lean on the older guys, but as far as toughness, rebounding, just keeping our guys calm, sometimes keeping me calm during the games, there was no replacement, for those 3 seniors and what they brought to us and what they meant, to our total group.
Mm-hmm. And David, going back just a couple nights ago, regular season finale, you're over in California, you're taking on Life Pacific. Basically, this was like a playoff game. I mean, whoever won that game was going to get that 4th and final seed in the GSAC tournament. And you want to talk about a battle. You guys eked it out 76-74, and this is after Life Pacific led for a good chunk of the game. So talk about what were some of the keys for you guys to come from behind, get that win, and secure your spot in the GSAC tournament.
One of the keys was for me to calm down. I was pretty hot that game, and Coach was the one trying to calm me down and all. And then really just like playing our game, just treating it like a regular game, really just not putting as much pressure on it, so that we just play like us, play our style, and go out there and do what we do. And just being together as a group, like picking each other up even when something happens. That was really huge, because then it came down to like knocking free throws at the end, and then locking down on defense. So it was really huge to just get together and rally up.
Mm-hmm. And JC, the game before then, the game that I still can't believe I missed with laryngitis. Oh, man, I'm going to be kicking myself for that for a long time. It's not like I planned to get laryngitis, but anyway, I digress. The game before that, you guys are up against Hope International. As I said, they're the number 22 ranked team in the NAIA. And again, just an absolute dogfight there, and it comes down to a 2-point win for you guys over Hope International. Final score in that one was 71-69. You were the one who got that victory at the buzzer, nailing a 3-pointer. Just take us through those final seconds, how you set up the shot and made it.
I mean, last play it was kind of a scramble. Honestly, they were a really athletic, long team, so we kind of had to switch, throw some slips in there, and I threw it to Damari, and he was kind of the most open, and he tried to make something happen. It wasn't really there. I kind of run out to the wing. I'm somewhat wide open. He throws me the ball, and there's maybe 2 seconds left. I had to throw it up. Not even throw it up. I knew it was going in for sure. And
recovery. It's a good recovery.
And shot it, and it was in. Buzzer went off, and it was just from there. It was just an unreal moment. Like, honestly, like it wouldn't have happened without the coaching staff, my teammates just being there for me, and it was just a great win on senior day.
So did you ever get a buzzer beater like that in your basketball career, or what?
I think I might have in rec, but
okay.
didn't really mean anything. But this one meant a lot more, and this is one of the most memorable ones for sure.
Yeah, basically not in high school or club or anything like that. Okay, David, what about you? Your career, either at Riddle or when you were at Ironwood, did you ever nail a buzzer beater?
Yeah, I was just at Centennial, though. It was just a layup though, so
Okay.
it's not a 3-pointer though, but it was a dub.
So basically, kind of like the buzzer beater we saw Wednesday night when Prescott played Brophy in the Open Division State Tournament when Wieskamp got that layup. But that was a heck of a game. And, oh, by the way, of course, Prescott boys basketball, they are going to be in the 4A Conference State Tournament. That's going to start Wednesday, and you can follow that right here on KYCA. Well, folks, in the studio with us today, got Coach Ben Tucker, two of his players, David Tebow and J.C. Cannellan, from the Embry-Riddle men's basketball team, who are GSAC tournament bound, and that is going to take place on next Saturday, and they'll be taking on the Masters University, the number one seed in the tournament. And, of course, we'll have the recap for you of that game right here on KYCA on our sports reports. Well, coming up to a break here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. And as always, before we go to break, it's time to see who shined over the past 7 days as we present the Tri-City Sports Roundup 3 Stars of the Week. Starting with the ladies, our number 3 star is Addie Prisciandero of the Prescott girls basketball team. She put up 16 points in the Lady Badgers' 72-49 loss to Gilbert Tuesday. The number 2 star is Bella Apt of the Prescott basketball team. She recorded 17 points and reached the 1,000-point plateau for her career in the Lady Badgers' 72-49 loss to Gilbert on Tuesday. Excuse me. And our number 1 star of the week is Zakira King of the Embry-Riddle basketball team. She netted 24 points in the Lady Eagles' 64-54 loss to Hope International last Saturday. Also, King, a.k.a. Attack Force Z, was named the GSAC Offensive Player of the Week. Now for the guys, our number 3 star is, sitting directly across from me, J.C. Cannellan of the Embry-Riddle basketball team. He hit the game-winning three-pointer at the buzzer in the Eagles' 71-69 triumph over Hope International last Saturday. The number 2 star is Uriah Tennett of the Prescott basketball team. He tallied 48 points in the Badgers' 70-68 overtime loss to Brophy Prep Wednesday. And our number 1 star of the week is Treg Otten of the Yavapai College baseball team. He threw a perfect game in the Rough Riders' 13-0 win over Community Christian last Friday. Otten was also named the Conference Player of the Week. Congratulations to all our 3 stars of the week. Break time here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. We'll be back right after this. We are back here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here, and if you're listening on the radio side, oh yeah, probably one of my favorite musical bumpers there, Led Zeppelin's The Rover, which in my opinion is probably the most underrated Led Zeppelin song ever. I mean, Jimmy Page's guitar work in that, stellar. By the way, before we go on, folks, I just want to send out condolences to the entire Pittsburgh Penguin team and fan base. A lot of you know that I am a staunch Philadelphia Flyers fan, and I totally despise the Pittsburgh Penguins. But if there was one guy I really liked on that team, it was their radio play-by-play guy, Mike Lang, who was behind the mic for the Penguins for 46 years. And unfortunately, this past week, Mike Lang passed away at the age of 46. And like I said, while I hate the Penguins, I loved Mike Lang's style of play-by-play. This is a guy who just made every single second of a game sound like it was the most exciting part ever. Just kind of some of his non-sequitur goal calls. He'd say, he shoots, he scores, and we're going moose hunting on a Harley. Or get in the fast lane, Grandma, the bingo game's about to start. Probably had nothing to do with goal scoring, but it was humorous. It was funny. It showed that he loved making the game fun. He had passion for it. There's just a lot of inspiration that I take from Mike Lang whenever I do play-by-play. So just wanted to come in and mention that. And, Mike Lang, thoroughly, much as I hated the Penguins, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to your play-by-play. And rest in peace. Definitely a legendary broadcaster. And as I said, someone who I take quite a bit of inspiration in my own play-by-play. Anyway, folks, here on the show today, I've got Coach Ben Tucker from the Embry-Riddle men's basketball team, along with two of his players, David Tebow, J.C. Canlin, and we were just kind of shooting the breeze before the show, and maybe I failed in my show prep because I didn't tell David and JC about a special segment that, of course, you all know what that segment is if you're listening here, folks, but JC and David probably don't, so they're going to be in for a surprise. But this is, of course, lightning round time, where we ask questions about their teammates. So, Dave, I'm starting with you. Dave's like, oh, man, what did I get myself into? I could have been back home sleeping this morning. So, Dave, who on Embry-Riddle would you say is the best-dressed player on the team? Who's the guy who could come out to ZZ Top's sharp-dressed man?
David.
I'll
put it on. I'll say me. And then second, I'll probably say Peter.
Well, Peter Dress. I mean, if your last name is Dress,
yeah.
I guess you got to be a pretty snazzy dresser.
No doubt.
Oh, man. JC, who on Embry-Riddle would you say is the funniest guy on the team? Who would be the team comedian?
This is up for grabs, honestly. If I were to pick one right now on the call, right now it's got to be Cohen Hill. Number 0. Yeah.
All right. So, David, on the opposite end, who would you say is probably the most serious player on the team? Oh, boy.
That one hit probably, I'll say me because of the way I yell. Like, I'm pretty serious, but then Jake is a little serious, too. He has a little kick to him. Don't be surprised.
So kind of a tie between you two guys.
Don't poke the bear with Jake. I live with him. You don't want to poke the bear.
The older guys.
Yeah. The unks.
Yeah, the unks.
All right. So, JC, who on Embry-Riddle would you say is the most talkative guy? The guy, if I had to do an interview with him, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to be here all night. Listen to this guy yammer on.
Dave's going to say me, honestly. But it's got to be Brett Bush. Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be a chatter.
All right. Now, Dave, on the opposite end, who is probably the quietest guy on the team? The guy who, if I did an interview with him, I'd probably get maybe 3 or 4 words out of him, if I'm lucky.
I was going to say Christian, but after this last road trip, I'd have to say Isaiah.
Oh, Isaiah Wong.
Yeah, Isaiah Wong. He's
That's
pretty
Dave's
quiet.
roommate. That's his roommate in hotels.
Well, I have interviewed Isaiah once or twice, and I can see where he's got a little soft-spoken there for sure. Okay, now, JC, who on Embry-Riddle can eat the most in one sitting?
I'm going to have to go with my roommate, Adam Mikulin.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
He goes to town.
So basically, like if you go to a Golden Corral, they'll be like, "Oh no, we're going to run out of food."
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh man. So, well, David, coming back to you here now. This is your senior year for Embry-Riddle, and I mean your time on Embry-Riddle basketball. I mean, you started out, solid. I mean, your the freshman season, that was the COVID season. Sophomore season, you were an All-Cal-Pac honorable mention. Unfortunately, after that, you suffered a really serious lower body injury. Just talk about what that process was like to come back from that and get back out on the court and keep contributing to the Eagles.
Yeah, it was definitely like unexpected. It really sucked. Just learning how to walk and then learning how to run during the summer. Then I gained a few pounds. That was not a few pounds, a lot of pounds. So then I had to cut that. And really just last year was just getting to flow, like learning about basketball again and readjusting. And this year it's like starting to get my body back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, were there times during the recovery process where you were thinking to yourself, am I ever going to get back out on the court again?
Yeah, there's definitely times, almost like every day, because I went from dunking to barely touching the net, and I'm sadly tucked in, get to see the what's it called? The old school David. Now you just see it's like just an old David, So,
Just the unk.
Yeah, just the unk version.
The unk David. Yeah, because I know that like one of the things that obviously your scoring has dropped off, but it seems like you've kind of readjusted yourself there, where maybe you're not scoring as many points as you did earlier in your career, but you're still grabbing rebounds left and right. So is it one of these things where it's like, okay, I can't do maybe this like I used to, but if I can still do these things over here, I can still help out my team greatly. Is that kind of the mentality you're at now?
Yeah, it helps as well. Like our team is like, as coach says, we have like our whole team can score really. So it's just like less stress on me, and it's really just like doing what I can do, like help the team, just play defense, lock in on D, have a strong mind, and get some rebounds and go out and go.
Mm-hmm. And of course, JC, you're coming to us from Portland, and again, like I said, this is your first year at Embry-Riddle, first year of collegiate basketball. Getting to Embry-Riddle, I mean, did you imagine that as a freshman you would be making as many contributions to the success of this team as you have been this year?
Yeah, I mean, going into the year, I mean, it was kind of honestly didn't know what I was going to provide for the team. Through like the first maybe 5 to 10 games, I was kind of just finding my way, finding my position, seeing like what I can do for the team. And then now these last maybe five games, I've kind of cemented my position as a point guard and as a scorer, and it's really good for me, but also just contributing to the team as a whole and just finding a way to win and find as many positives as I can.
Yeah, and one of the things I've always maintained is that a lot of times for athletes, they'll go to college, and of course they're going to a college team as they were the number 1, number 2 guy on their high school teams, and then when they get to college, they realize that, hey, wait a minute, like, everyone else around me was the number 1, number 2 guy on their high school teams. I mean, JC, you had a really great career at Ida B. Wells in Portland. I mean, you're a 1,000-point career scorer, team leader in assists, and a first-team all-league selection. I mean, you had a great high school career. So what was it like for you going into an environment where, like, everyone on your team and everyone else that you played against were great high school players?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit it on the spot, like being the number 1 guy on your team in high school, and then kind of just shifting your mindset to a college team that has the same mindset as you it surprised me at first, honestly. And then as the games went by, I noticed that like if we kind of just cut the load back and just focus on the simple things, defense, taking care of the ball, and rebounding, it's the wins will come and the results will come if we just stay simple and just come together as a team and stay ready.
And Dave, going back to your early college career days, again, you also had a really great career at Ironwood. You were all district selection, all region selection. You were actually Ironwood. They were the state champions in 5A in 2020. What kind of eye-opening moments did you have early in your college career when you realized, kind of like JC was saying, like, man, everyone here at this level is just as good as I was in high school?
Yeah, it was definitely eye-opening. That's when COVID had hit, so, there wasn't really much basketball being played as well. So then coming back and just seeing how everyone improved was, like, kind of scary as well, because I was, I'm not going to say what I was doing, but it wasn't really the best for me to get better. But then also having great mentors like Connor Verdugo, like getting in the gym more consistently, caring about basketball, find the love for it again. It really helped as well to just like lock in. And then when COVID happened, it was really just basketball, no school. So that was like a huge help as well.
All right. And Coach, from a recruiting standpoint, is it sometimes kind of difficult to try to convince guys who are really great players in high school when they get to college, be like, hey, when you get to college, like everyone else out there on the court is going to be just as good or even better than you are. Do you find that for some athletes that's kind of a hard sell for them, or what?
Yeah, I don't know about in the recruiting part as much as like our team building, and it's like you were in our locker room. We talked about that so much because, JC being an example, but we have 7 freshmen, and probably 5 of the 7 their senior year in high school, they had to score 25 to 30 points for their team to win most nights. So it just becomes kind of who you become as a player. And early in the year, and it's nothing other than just habits and what was expected of them previously. But we had nights where guys felt like they had to do that to help us win in close games. So part of us getting over the hump and kind of where we are now was going through those experiences for them and learning and understanding, that's not necessarily what I have to do here for us to be successful. And I think you see that in our last 7-8 games. We go 5-1 in our last 6, and almost every night, every guy in kind of our 9-man rotation scored. It happened again against Life Pacific. We played 10 guys. Adam played 45 seconds, but of the other 9, every guy scored at least 4 points. And that balance is what made us really dangerous. And so it's getting just them to understand that, and then also be able to incorporate it on the floor. I think in the recruiting process, we're trying to get the best players we can and the best fits for the community and the school. And it's my job to kind of figure out once they get here how to teach them and ingrain that. And like I said, we have such good kids, such good people that our guys just want to win. So they understand that, and they're adjusting their game on the fly to figure out what we have to do to win. So it's a credit to them to adjust into that so quickly, especially with so many freshmen playing.
Yeah, and I think now that we are in recruiting and college signing period and everything, a lot of people, a lot of kids who like have visions of playing in college. As I said, they got the D1 stars in their eyes, and you can't blame them because, when you're 15, 16, you're a really good player. What are you thinking of? You're thinking, oh, yeah, I want to play for U of A. I want to play for Ohio State, USC, Oregon, or whatever. You're not thinking of like D2, D3, or, NAIA schools. But again, when you look at what the GSAC is like, where you've got 3 top 25 teams in there, NAIA or even a D2, D3, those are really great alternatives, and there are really, really good athletes in those divisions.
Oh, it's athletically, especially our league and the GSAC. All 3 of those top teams have multiple players that could play at the Division I level or already did and transferred back. The big difference is just the size of the school and the school makeup. The NAIA is a lot of small private schools, so sometimes it's a better fit, or kids want to stay local, but they could play at the Division I level. The Masters University, who we play Saturday, Caleb Lowry, their best player is the 2-time player of the year. He'll have, with the new NCAA stuff going down, I think he'll have one more year to play, and I'm sure he'll be playing at the Division I level. I know, I'm sure he had people calling and all that stuff to try to get him to leave there, but we play Division I, quote unquote, level players every single night in our conference. So it's high level basketball, and that's the other tough thing having so many young guys is most of these teams, Hope International, I don't think they have anybody younger than a junior on their roster. So we're going against 22, 23, 24-year-olds, across the board. So, but it's great basketball, and the last switching subjects, but I don't want to let it go past, Dave talking about his injury a little bit. This is my 18th year. I've never seen someone go through an injury process with as much just grit and character as David did. Watching his film when I first got the job, that's what he's talking about. That was the dunk era before the unk era. It was dunk and now it's unk, but to see just what he's battled through and just his character day in and day out, that helped our program grow and help these young guys more than anything, and probably more than he realizes. Just his character is why our program's in the position we are. So I just want to make sure that gets highlighted because he undersells the recovery process and everything he had to go through. But my first week I saw him move, I didn't think he was going to be able to play last year. And he didn't miss a game, and what he's sacrificed to be on the court is there's not words that can describe what it's meant for our program.
All right. Well, we only got about 2 minutes left here on the show. So, Dave, coming up next Saturday, you guys versus the Masters University to open up GSAC tournament play. What are going to be some of the keys to try to get the big upset win over Masters and hopefully move on to the GSAC championship game?
Definitely the keys that's been helping us is scouting. Like, scouting has been huge as well. Defending and rebounding, we can't control if the ball goes in or not, but we can control how we play, how we defend, and how we rebound. Because if we hold them not to score and we just score one bucket, that's a win. So it's really just going to come down to those things and staying together through that like moment as well, knowing that it's a win or go home, but staying together, treating it as a normal game, and just playing how we usually play.
All right. Well, folks, that's going to do it for our show here today. I want to thank you very much for joining us, Coach Ben Tucker, David Tebow, and J.C. Canlin from the Embry-Riddle men's basketball team. I want to thank you guys for joining us here on the show. And again, best of luck to you at the GSAC tournament coming up Saturday. And Coach, where's that GSAC tournament going to be at?
Our game is at the Masters, so we play at the higher seed. So at the Masters next Saturday, and then if we get it done, the championship will be Tuesday at the higher seed.
Okay. Again, guys, thanks again. Best of luck to you in the GSAC tournament.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, John.
Okay, and of course, we'll have recaps of how Embry-Riddle does in the GSAC tournament. We'll have recaps of all the postseason action coming up. State wrestling meet is underway today. Embry-Riddle wrestling, they're in the conference championship today. And also we've got Prescott Bradshaw Mountain boys basketball and Prescott girls basketball, all in state conference action next week. Stay with KYCA. Oh, Prescott girls soccer, they host a state playoff game at noon today. Stay with KYCA for all those updates, and we'll see you again next week. Have a good one.